Hey Bears fans, this year's edition of Draft Hats are officially out, and you can pick one out today at chatsports.com/Bears Draft. A few different styles available for you guys, and they kind of got the trucker mesh look this year, which is definitely interesting. You got the curve bill hat one here. This one's actually a fitted hat, so depending on your head size, you can pick that one out as well. And then not to be confused with this one, which looks eerily similar, this one's actually a snapback adjustable one, so slightly different there. If you like fitted, if you like the adjustable sizable ones as well, they're all available. Chatsports.com/Bears Draft. You can also get hats from the last couple of drafts that are available, 2020, 2019, a couple of different options still on that site as well. Use that link below, chatsports.com/Bears Draft. You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Let's get into the latest Chicago Bears rumors around this year's NFL Draft. Could Chicago move up to the number 4 pick with the Atlanta Falcons? I'll give this one smoking J. It's barely true it could happen, but it's a long shot to move up from number 20 up to number 4. Peter Schrager had this one of NFL Network, and he listed the Bears as a team that could move up and should move up to the number 4 pick. As we reported last week, Atlanta is reportedly willing to trade down from the number 4 pick in the NFL Draft. And as you guys know, and as we continue to discuss here on Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports, the Bears still need a long-term option at quarterback because neither Andy Dalton or Nick Foles is that. Here's what Peter Schrager had to say. Atlanta holds the keys to the draft with the 4th pick right now. I'd look at Denver, New England, Washington, and even Chicago to pick up that phone and see what it would take. Atlanta's willing to listen. This is where it gets really interesting. And he's right in the sense that the draft starts at the number 4 pick. The draft starts at the number 4 pick. And what does that mean? What that means is we know who's going number 1, Trevor Lawrence. We know who's going number 2, Zach Wilson, barring some weird scenario there, but he will go number 2. And we know that the 49ers are going to take a quarterback at number 3, presumably Mac Jones, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance, which means Atlanta's sitting there at number 4, who could draft a quarterback, kind of holds the keys right now. Like, what do they want to do? Do they want to stay there and draft a quarterback? Do they want to draft Kyle Pitts? Do they want to take a Penei Sewell? Do they want to trade down and get a lot of picks in return for a team like Chicago to move up and take one of Jones, Fields, or Lance, depending on who's available after the 49ers select? The Falcons hold the keys right now. It'll be very fascinating to see what they do over the next couple of weeks because I think they will continue to shop that pick. Now, Bears fans, what do you want to do? Should the Bears trade up for the number 4 pick in the draft with Atlanta? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Go ahead and get your votes in. Should the Bears move up in this year's draft? Now, obviously, if the Bears do trade up, it's going to cost a ton. It's not going to be cheap. You're talking, several picks and maybe even a good player to move up from number 20 to number 4, especially in this draft. And again, with a team like Atlanta, who they hold the cards right now. They're saying, hey, 3 of the 5 quarterbacks are already gone by the time we pick at number 4. If you want to get one of these top 5 dudes, you're going to have to give us a lot to give them. This is the trade idea I actually proposed last week on a video we did, 5 trade ideas to move up in the draft, and I think you're looking at something like this. Couple of firsts, couple of seconds, and Roquan Smith, and if you don't want to trade Roquan Smith, well, you're probably talking about adding a 3rd first-round pick at that point. Guys, it costs a ton to move up into the top 5, especially when you don't pick until number 20 overall, which is the situation for Chicago. So, again, one smoking J. It's barely true. It could happen, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty big long shot because the capital to get up that high is just quite a bit for Chicago. Now, let's say they do it, and 2 of these 3 guys are available. Remember, the 49ers will take one of these guys at 3, and then 2 of them will still be there. Who do you want? Type JF for Justin Fields, type TL for Trey Lance, type MJ for Mac Jones. If you could pick any of these guys, go ahead and let me know which quarterback prospect you would draft. Now, Bears fans, if you want more Bears information, NFL news, and rumors as well, and just my takes away from our videos here on Bears Now, well, follow me on Twitter. I'm at HGramNFL. You can ask me your questions over there. I'm always tweeting tidbits about the Bears and the NFL as a whole. At HGramNFL, continue to help me grow on Twitter. It'll help us grow here on Chicago Bears Now as well. So go ahead and give me a follow. Let's talk free agency here on Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. Bashaud Breeland is one of the top free agents available. Bleacher Report suggests the idea that Chicago could actually target and bring him in. And obviously, we've talked cornerback quite a bit here on this show because the Bears had to cut Kyle Fuller to save money. They did end up signing Desmond Trufant and bringing back some guys like Artie Burns and Michael Joseph, some depth pieces there. And Breeland is actually a pretty solid corner. I'll give this one 2 Smoking Jays. People are talking. I think it's at least a possibility that Chicago could sign Bashaud Breeland. And the reason I would explore it is, to be simply honest, Bashaud Breeland's better than Desmond Trufant at this point. Trufant's got way more injury concerns. He's older, and when we saw him last year, he just wasn't that good, whereas Breeland, the past 2.5, 3 years, has been pretty steady. His past 2 years in Kansas City, he's been really good. Last year played in just 11 games, but he had a 4-game suspension to start the year, so it wasn't a matter of not being able to stay healthy. Had 2 picks in those 11 games. I love the 9 PBUs in those 11 games as well, and he's kind of been a lower-end number 1 corner for a Kansas City team that's gone to 2 straight Super Bowls. So that's saying quite a bit, in my opinion. And you look at where the Bears cornerback depth chart sits right now. You got Jaylon Johnson, who you feel good about his future, assuming he can stay healthy. Trufant, he's a placeholder. I wouldn't say he's a lock to be CB2, but if he's fully healthy, as of now, he probably would be. You got some depth pieces on the outside there. Vildor, Artie, Burns. You brought back a guy like Michael Joseph. But you could certainly use a guy who's better than Desmond Trufant, who simply did not play that well when he was healthy, and that was a big issue as well. He wasn't healthy, right? Only played in 6 games with Detroit. I think Pro Football Focus graded him as like one of the 3 or 4 worst corners when he did play last year. So that is not a very good sign. Maybe it was a bad fit in Detroit. Maybe he was injured even when he was playing. There's certainly possibilities out there. What I know is, having watched Breeland the past couple of years with Kansas City, this is a player who's been pretty solid. 2 picks in each of the last 3 seasons, 1 with Green Bay and then the past 2 with Kansas City. I'm not saying he's a lockdown number 1 corner, but is he a solid, really good number 2? At this point, yeah, he's found some consistency here these past couple of years after he kind of bounced around the first, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of his career as he kind of up and down number 2 type. He's a rock solid number 2, and he's not a horrible number 1 if you need him to be in that role. So pick a corner. Who would you rather have? Who do you think is the better player at this point? Type DT for Desmond Trufant. Type BB for Bashaud Breeland. I like Trufant if he's fully healthy, but I just don't know if he will be. I actually think Breeland's clearly the better player, so I'm going to type BB in the comments. Now subscribe and join us tomorrow, because we will be live, as we are every Tuesday, with Chicago Bears Now live, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Pacific. Wherever you are, we will be live. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and hey, guess what? I promised you guys a couple of weeks ago, Bears mock draft with trades coming your way on tomorrow's live show. So subscribe, don't miss it. 4 o'clock Eastern time. Hit that big red button and turn on those notifications and join us live, because it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Let's talk Orlando Brown trade here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm going to give this one Smoking J. FANSIDED threw together a couple of trade ideas for the Bears, and I wanted to look at this one here. We've talked about this before here on the channel, and basically, Orlando Brown a couple of months ago requested a trade because he wants to play left tackle. Ronnie Stanley's coming back for Baltimore. They've already paid him, so they're going to play him at left tackle. They want to keep Brown at right. And he's like, no, I want to play left tackle because I played well last year with Stanley hurt, and Orlando Brown's a smart guy. He knows that left tackles are the guys who get paid in the NFL, and he proved last year he can be a good left tackle in the NFL. I love this idea. He would give Chicago an anchor on their offensive line, and you could cut and or move Charles Leno to right tackle. Either option's fine with me, but Orlando Brown would certainly be an upgrade there. So FANSIDED put together this trade idea, which I love this package. A second and a third for Orlando Brown. Sign me the heck up for this one. I don't know if Baltimore would say yes to that. I think they'd like to get a first, but hey, if you ask me, this would be a home run trade for the Bears, so you guys can let me know what you think about it. Who would win this trade? Type B for the Bears, R for the Ravens. And the reason I like it too is A, you keep your first-round pick this year and your third-round pick this year. You lose your third next year, your second this year. That's fine for a guy like Orlando Brown. Sure, you're going to have to pay him, but you've needed a left tackle for quite some time now, and Orlando Brown is certainly a player who would give you some stability on your offensive line. I would do this trade in a second. I wouldn't even think twice about it. Second and a third for Brown? Yes. The only reason I've been hesitant to kind of pursue this is, well, do I want to trade number 20 overall if I'm the Bears and I'm still possibly pursuing a quarterback in this draft, or, for a while, a Russell Wilson trade. That's obviously the ultimate long shot now. But if you can do it without giving up your first, that doesn't take you out of the sweepstakes of moving up in the draft necessarily, and it gets you a left tackle for the foreseeable future. So I definitely like this idea. And if you get a guy like Orlando Brown on this unit, you're feeling pretty good about your offensive line. You probably cut Charles Leno at that point, or you kick him to right tackle, who, as much as we bag on Leno, he's better than Jermaine Ifedi, I think. And either way, you're feeling pretty solid overall. If right tackle is your only weakish link on your offensive line, because I think that interior can be pretty solid, that's a major upgrade from how this offensive line sat for much of last season. So, hey, I would explore it. I'd see what's out there. Obviously, this isn't being, reported by any of the big shots. It's more of an idea from FANSIDED, but second and a third for Orlando Brown would be great. I do think the Ravens, if they're going to trade him, they got to do it between now and or on draft night. So I got a couple of weeks to decide as the NFL draft is closing in very, very soon. Now, again, want to remind you guys to follow me on Twitter. I'm at HGramNFL. We're going to keep you guys updated on this channel, but occasionally things come up and we can't make a video, or even if we are going to make a video, I tweet about it first. So get the latest news around the Bears, NFL, news, rumors. You can DM me. My DMs are always open. If you have questions about the Bears, at HGramNFL, hit that follow button and go ahead and send your questions.